There is a moment in Spider-Man Brand New Day when Peter Parker, alone in his apartment, 4 years into an anonymity so complete it has become a kind of identity of its own, sees his once best friend Ned posting online about finishing his last semester at MIT, and clearly understands, with the clarity of someone who has had a very long time to think about it, that he chose this. He chose it to protect the people he loved, even if that means the people he loves no longer know he exists. When the trailer dropped earlier this year, I shared here that I was beginning to get the impression this film would be an exploration of loneliness. I was right. With Spider Man Brand New Day, director Destin Daniel Cretton, after his stellar work on Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and Wonder Man, has made a film that explores loneliness with a patience and a seriousness that the MCU does not always permit itself. The film's visual grammar announces its emotional priorities immediately. New York is gray and washed out when Peter moves through it as himself, but it brightens when he puts the mask on. The city loves Spider Man. Nobody knows Peter Parker. And the gap between those two facts has been slowly hollowing him out for 4 years. Tom Holland delivers one of the finest performances of his tenure in this role. He has always been best at vulnerability, but this film asks perhaps more of him than any of its predecessors. A young man for whom even the ordinary comforts of being known have been stripped away. I saw this film in ScreenX on opening day, peripheral screens wrapping the action around you, placing you inside the fights rather than watching from outside. And in the quieter moments, the format somehow made the isolation feel even more complete. The film's central relationship is between Spider-Man and Sadie Sink's character, a young woman with powers of her own, whose traumatic backstory places her as the film's emotional counterpoint to Peter's own journey. She's not quite the villain of the film by any means. She's a person who has lost everything, and who is still, somewhere beneath the damage, reaching for something human. The parallel with Peter is exact. Both isolated, both capable of things that separate them from ordinary people, both missing something they cannot fully name. Sadie Sink is extraordinary in this role. She has always demonstrated a remarkable capacity to play grief and latent danger simultaneously. And here, she is given material that requires both in almost every scene. The dynamic between her and Tom Holland, the recognition between two characters who have been lonely in ways that most people cannot understand, is the film's most consistently compelling material. And the film earns its climax because it has spent 2 hours building parallel journeys that feel genuinely specific rather than schematically constructed. The MCU architecture surrounding the story is managed with discipline. Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner appears in a sequence addressing Peter's physical evolution with the warmth of a mentor who understands what it means to live inside a body that doesn't always cooperate. Zendaya's MJ has moved on, and the film handles the weight of that with more honesty than a lesser entry might. A glimpse of the ordinary trajectory that Peter sacrificed, rather than a plot complication to be resolved. John Bernthal's Punisher continues the character's thematic throughline from his most recent appearance in The Punisher One Last Kill. Brief, but purposeful. A reminder that this corner of the MCU is seriously engaging with the question of what violence costs its practitioners. And the action sequences are genuinely spectacular, especially in ScreenX, Cretton building spectacle around character stakes rather than replacing them. Spider-Man Brand New Day is among the strongest entries in the Multiverse Saga, a film that understands its protagonist well enough to give him not just an adventure, but a genuine emotional reckoning with the choices he has made and what those choices have cost him. With Vision Quest arriving in 2.5 months, and Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars beyond that, the Multiverse Saga is entering its concluding arc, and this film is one of its strongest recent arguments for why these characters have earned the conclusion being built for them. Months ago, when I analyzed the trailer, I wrote that I was getting the impression that this film would be about loneliness, and it is. But more precisely, it is about what loneliness does to a person over time, and about the extraordinary thing that can happen when people still manage to find each other across the gulf of it. Peter Parker chose to be forgotten, and Spider-Man Brand New Day makes you feel every year of that choice. But it also leaves you hopeful that this could be the start of something brand new. Spider-Man Brand New Day is in theaters now, and if you can see it in ScreenX, do it. And if you have seen it, let me know in the comments. Did Spider-Man Brand New Day deliver for you? And are you ready for Vision Quest and Avengers Doomsday? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more deep dives into the stories that shape our fandom.